Hello there. Thank you for taking a moment to watch this video, and on this specific training we are going to continue our Salesforce integration, configuration, and setup. But more specifically, we are focused on the LeadStream concept of dialing out of the PhoneBurner UI. Now hopefully you've watched the other videos that are part of this series where we do a little overview of why you should care about LeadStream, why you might want to be considering that, and how you could get any existing data that's already in Salesforce over into PhoneBurner. But on this specific training, I want to talk to you about getting real-time data. You probably have some sort of source that's feeding data real-time into your Salesforce org. Whether that's a contact me form on your website or some other method. Now, of course, the sheer number of ways that people can feed data into their Salesforce account, it's just through the roof. So there's no way for me to account for every option that you might consider. So I'm just going to try to keep this as generic as possible to get the concept across to you and show you how to do it, how you might want to consider doing that. So in this particular case, I've created a lead form. This is just a Google form that I created for this specific training. Imagine this as a form on your website. Somebody goes to your website, they make a request, you probably have that data being fed into your Salesforce environment. And so I'll just show you that real quick. So I've got this form here. And so I've gone ahead and I've just filled out this form, and I'm going to go ahead and submit that. And that should, if I've got my automation turned on properly, that should create a new record in my Salesforce org. Let's see here if it did. And there it is. We got Johnny Tester into our Salesforce org. So again, this is just an example to show you the process. You have something happening outside that's pushing data into your Salesforce org. And again, everybody's process is going to be different for this. Now, in my example, I'm taking advantage of a tool called Zapier to zap the new form fills from my Google form into my Salesforce account. So all I need to do at this point is I need to add some steps to this process. Now again, what you need to do on your end is going to be different. If you need some help kind of conceptually talking through it, feel free to reach out to our team. Maybe we can schedule a call to kind of talk through the best path forward for you. And it might even be Zapier. Even if you're not using Zapier to feed the data into Salesforce, you can customize Zapier to look for new contact records or new lead records in your Salesforce org and then zap those over to PhoneBurner. But of course, each organization is going to be different. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this zap. And what I want to do is I just want to add another step here. So not only do I want to create the record in Salesforce, but I also want to create that record in PhoneBurner so that my team that's powering through the shared data in PhoneBurner will have access to these contacts right away and potentially even call those contacts within seconds of them filling out the form. So we're going to go ahead and add a step. This is going to be a PhoneBurner step. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a contact record. And then we need to choose the account that we want to feed these records into. In this particular case, I want to use my Salesforce account. And this is going to be your admin account in PhoneBurner. Now that I've selected that account, let's go ahead and continue. And I need to choose the folder that needs to accept these contacts or leads as they're flowing over into PhoneBurner real time. This needs to be the folder that's connected to your lead stream. So in this particular case, the folder that I'm looking at is my Salesforce contacts folder because that's the folder that the lead stream is monitoring so that these contacts get called right away. So let's go back over here, choose the folder, Salesforce contacts, there it is. And now we just need to map the data that I need to see in PhoneBurner. Again, this is going to depend on whether or not you're going to be showing the iframe or the contact details from PhoneBurner. But very simple. I'm just taking the form information. Of course, I'm keeping mine very, very simple because I've just got first name, last name, email address. And we might have some phone numbers here, right? Again, you're just mapping the relevant information from what was filled out via the form into PhoneBurner. And I'm going to keep it simple. Lots of different things that we can add in here, but the most important thing that we need to add outside of phone number, right, is the external CRM ID. We need to know what is the Salesforce ID for this record so that when we're making those calls through PhoneBurner, the activities can be logged back to Salesforce. So in this particular case, we don't have this from the form that they filled out on our website. We're only going to have this after the record was created in Salesforce. So we're going to grab the ID from Salesforce, and we're going to feed that into the external CRM ID field in PhoneBurner. And of course, you can check for duplicates here if you want, but I'm assuming you're already checking for duplicates and things like that as you're pushing data into Salesforce. And so you probably don't have to consider that so much at this point. And I'll show you one other thing that you may want to do to ensure that you never have to consider that. But let's go ahead and scroll past this and hit continue. And now let's go ahead and test the step. Actually, you know what? I want to test that with our newest response. So let's go back up to step 1. Go to our trigger, go to our test. And let's get a new record. What was that, Johnny Tester or something like that? He should be in here. There we are, Johnny Tester. We don't have to test it on the Salesforce side because actually we might need to test this on the Salesforce side because we need to get that ID. Let's go here, continue, and we're going to retest the step. Okay, so yeah, that record already exists. So let's get ourselves, let's go ahead and just delete that record just so that we can get that out of here. So let's go in here. Where are you, Johnny Tester? Let's go ahead and delete this record. Delete. Okay, let's test that again. Go back over to our Zap. Test the step. And there we go. Okay, so we just had that record created in our Zap. We should now see it in Salesforce again. Johnny Tester. Okay, so we'll go back to our Zap, hit continue, continue, continue. Okay, so continue and retest the step. There it is. There's Johnny Tester. Okay, so we should see, once this is successful, there we go, we should see Johnny Tester in here somewhere. There he is, Johnny Tester. Okay, so our record was created in PhoneBurner. And the last thing that I would recommend that you do, this is optional, but I highly recommend that you do that, and that's to add one more step here. And we're going to update our contact record in Salesforce. In here, we're going to go and update a contact. And the record that we want to update is going to be the record that we created in step 2. So we're going to find that ID. So whatever record triggered this whole process, we're going to update that record, but we're going to take the PhoneBurner record ID and we're going to save that to the record in Salesforce. And so we're going to take that PhoneBurner record ID. Now I've already gone and created this field, so you're not going to have this out of the box. This is something that you're going to want to create yourself. But we're going to go ahead and store that PhoneBurner record ID in Salesforce. So once that record was created on the PhoneBurner side, we're going to take that record ID and add that to the record in Salesforce. So let's go ahead and continue. Test the step. So Johnny Tester, that's his record ID right here. We want to take that and update Johnny Tester in Salesforce so that his record ID is also in Salesforce. So that becomes another filtering option. In whatever tool I'm using when I'm creating the records over in PhoneBurner, I can say, hey, do I already have a PhoneBurner record ID for this record? If so, I'm just going to update that existing record. If this is blank, let's create a new record. Again, completely optional, depends on how you're managing your data. But something to consider is to store that data, that record ID, the PhoneBurner record ID, back in Salesforce. And that's it. Once you update your flow, and I'm going to go ahead and publish this here. Now that we've got this added to the flow, I can go back to my form. So whatever method it is that's generating leads, right, that's creating the leads, is going to add the records to both Salesforce and PhoneBurner. So we'll go ahead and test this one more time with a new record. Go ahead and hit submit. And if everything's running properly, we should see that record, Donnie Demo. And so we see Donnie Demo is now in Salesforce. Let's jump over to PhoneBurner. And let's scroll through here. We should see Donnie Demo in here as well. There he is, down at the bottom. And if we go into the record in Salesforce, we should see the PhoneBurner record ID has now saved here as well. So perfect. We've got new records being generated outside of the system, creating those records in Salesforce. Whatever tool it is that we're using to generate those records or create those records in Salesforce, whatever that process is, we're adding an extra step in there to also create that record in PhoneBurner and to also update that record back in Salesforce so that that record has the PhoneBurner record ID saved to it as well. So now that we have this in place, our team can be working through a shared pool, a lead stream, and as soon as those records are created, they can be called in PhoneBurner. So we're talking seconds between new lead and first phone call. And because we're integrated with Salesforce and we're doing it this way, we'll be able to log those activities back to Salesforce. So anyway, that's it for this specific training video. Make sure you watch the next video where we're actually going to do a dial session and we're going to talk about the different views that you can have on the screen as you're making your calls. So anyway, thanks again and happy dialing.